What up, folks? It's your man NG hitting with a brand spanking new album review. That's right, we got a brand new joint from your man Earl Sweatshirt, and this one's called Sick. This is the brand new 10-track LP from the California MC. I'm sure he's got some stuff to say. It's been a while since we heard a full one from him, so let's just jump right into it. We start off with the first track. It's the intro track. It's called Old Friend, and it's produced by The Alchemist. It starts off with these electric bass lines, and it kind of carries on throughout the whole tracks. There's some pianos and pad strings in there with some spacey effects and some laser type synthesizers that sound like they peek in and out of the track with this vocal sample that's also layered on top of it. That vocal sample actually comes back at the end of the track, and it kind of recalls you back to the beginning. Earl comes through with this slow and serious delivery. There's this pain and emotion to it that's really stabbing through the vocal performance. He's talking about the cost of living, dealing with COVID and the politics of it all, liars, and finding that balance and peace within himself. It sounds like a true styled intro track with this relaxing feeling to it, and my favorite bar in there is when he says, "No, I came from out to stick it," smiling. Overall, I think it's a cool intro, and I dig the instrumentation and Earl's pain voice. After that, we get into track number 2, which is called 2010. I previously did a short review on that one, so I'm going to put the link below. You can check that out and let me know what you think about it. After that, we get into the third track, which is called Sick. It's got some dark piano loops in there with some hand claps, and it has this Tyler type of 808 thumping in there, kind of reminding me of Tyler. And it also has this trap type of feel to it with the bounce, and it has a Fela Kuti outro. I think that's how you pronounce the name. I think it's an African artist. Earl comes through. He's got these vocals that sounds like maybe he recorded on his phone and he's just freestyling on his voice app. He's talking about life as it comes and going on his own and not allowing himself to be fooled by the things he's been fooled before, and also the sickness that's outside. It sounds like it's a bouncy piano loop type track with some distorted vocals, and it gives it this really raw feeling. I dig the part where he says, "Something's gotta give, cover me, I'm going in." Overall, this track is pretty dope. I was feeling the bounce of it in Earl's flow. Following that, we have number 4. This one's called Vision, and it's featuring an artist named Zilupers. I'm not too sure how you pronounce that. If you know it, let me know in the comments below. But this one starts off with some media samples. Sounds like it comes from a movie or something. I'm not too familiar where it's coming from. It has some ringing keys in the background with some harps and stuff, and the bouncy tempo really makes it fun. But I'm not really enjoying the track that much. It has these trap type drums and some subs with the 808s that kind of go in and out. And there's some low-key horns in there maybe. I'm not too sure. There's some instrumentation. It sounds like horns, but I'm not 100% sure. The verse is kind of choppy. Loopers comes in with this lengthy verse. It's kind of choppy with this Uzi Vert type delivery to it, and it slows down in the second half where he has this drawl on the vocals where he's kind of like delivering the words slower as if he was drunk or something. He's talking about making a name for himself and taking care of his loved ones and doing well and looking for loyalty and companionship. Earl, he follows suit with the calm delivery and choppy flow, touching on topics such as his vision of overcoming his personal hell. He speaks on how COVID and the quarantine has affected rent and people in real estate and homelessness and addicts. My favorite line in there is when he says, "Had to get low like the jail pose." I thought that was kind of funny. I have a lot of cousins that went to jail. They send me those pictures. They all do the same pose. Overall, it feels like it drags on, and I can't really say that I love this track, but it does have some memorable moments, and I do think the beat is fire. It might grow on me. Following that track is number 5. This one's called Tabula Rasa. This one is featuring Armand Hammer, aka Elucid, and Billy Woods. I haven't heard too much of their music, but jumping into this one, it has this low-key soul sample loop along with some minimal percussion and some organs and some vocal chops with some vinyl crackling in there. It makes it sound pretty cool. Elucid, he spears into the track with this poetic delivery. He's rapping about questioning reality and the lies within the truth and revisioning himself after destruction. Billy follows suit with an almost spoken word type of delivery and rhythm. He's speaking on being tired of foolishness, There's some storytelling elements to his rap, and he's dropping some African artist references. Earl comes through after that with a similar poetic delivery, and he's talking about resilience and using his artistry to find a balance and being a man of his word, trusting his life's direction. My favorite bar comes from Earl when he sounds the cleanest and he says, "Symptomatic, but I get sick of the delays." I can relate to that, bruh. Overall, I think this track doesn't progress as much musically as it could be, and it makes it a little bit uninteresting at moments, and I'm not really feeling it. But after that, we get into track number 6. This one's called Lie, and it's produced by The Alchemist. I'm feeling this track. It has a Malcolm X reference in it. It starts off with these warm jazz samples, and it has some strong horn and bassline presence. It's super laid back with the drums. It's really minimal, and it has this lo-fi sound to it with some cool wah-wah effects in there. Earl, he comes in with this weaving in and out of the pocket type of flow. It's really sleepy, and he's talking about getting older and giving us those bully type rhymes that I really like to hear from him. He's staying low key and talking about pain turning into hate. He has an excerpt of the Malcolm X autobiography at the end, and it sounds like a Quasimodo type track, but it has this cool bop to it. My favorite bar in there is when he says, "What's yours is obviously mine." Overall, I feel like this one might be one of my favorite tracks. It has the best feel, and it's easy to put this one on repeat or even drive to it. I just wish some of the bars hit a little bit harder. After that track, we get into number 7. This one is called Lobby. It's got this dark drum beat with some instrumentation and nuances that create this futuristic atmospheric feeling. It has some bouncy rhythms in there, and Earl approaches it with more energy than the previous tracks. He has this fast flow, and it kind of reminds me of J. Cole, maybe like Lil Uzi Vert. He's talking about being older and troubled by his past, and also being stubborn. He's talking about some mass safety, and he has some metaphors in there about that, standing on what he believes in, and it also has this stick-up feeling to it. It sounds punchy and minimal, and it's good for maybe some choreography. My favorite line in there is when he says, "Ain't known for hugging a fence, head hard, stubborn and shit." Overall, it's probably my second favorite track on the album, and it has a dope flow and bounce to it, and Earl's doing that shit talking that I like. After that, we get into number 8, which is called God Laughs. I'm not feeling this track at all. It starts off with these dreamy and hazy synth chords. It's kind of replaying this numbing key sound, and it's creating this lost type of atmosphere. Before you realize it, Earl comes in with these super lo-fi mixed vocals. He's pretty much overpowered by the instrumentation. He has a serious vocal tone, and he speaks on being mindful. He also talks about his grandfather knowing 13 languages, pain of losing someone, and finding peace. The best bar in there is when he says, "Keep changing for the better, what to do when your job is thankless." Overall, I kind of hated this track. It sounds like it's mixed poorly, and it's not really highly enjoyable. Head into number 9, and we're already approaching the end of this album. We get into the track, this one's called Titanic, and it's featuring Nikhil Smith. It starts off with these whirling aquatic melodies and some punchy kicks with some clean chop perks and snares. It has this creepy atmosphere with some additional background vocals from Nikhil. Earl comes into it with this bouncy flow. He's weaving through the swing of the percussion, and he's consistently along the track with these cleaner bars. It sounds cleaner in some areas than it does in others, and he's talking about his come up, not knowing what to expect in the future, and recalling the dangerous incidents that he's familiar with. He's talking about improving his life on his own, and there's some tough talk bars in there. This one also sounds like it's a hip-hop odyssey in a submarine or something. I'm digging the bars when he says, "Mask on like a supervillain." Overall, I dig the aquatic feel on this one, and the bounce on Earl's flow is really sick. Going into number 9, which is the last track, this one is called Fire in the Hole. Fire in the Hole starts off with these dusty samples of some sexy guitars and bass line. It's super lo-fi with the drums, with this minimal bump to it, and it has some clean piano outros in the back of the track. Earl comes in with this sleepy flow. It sounds a bit drunken, and it kind of feels like he's on some Tony grooves. It's mid-tempo with the delivery, and he may be metaphorically talking about intimacy with the special lady or surviving a trauma. He's also talking about not dwelling on the past and how fast life can change. It sounds like a drunken love song, and it has this bop to it, and I think the sample is great. My favorite line in there is when he says, "Throw on some Bootsy, I'd rather be with you when I'm high." It has this bass slap when he says the name Bootsy, which made me laugh. Overall, this one, it feels emotional and has this lo-fi feel to it with this classic Sleepy Earl delivery. So yeah, there we have it. This is Earl Sweatshirt, sick album. I'm gonna give this one a 7 out of 10, maybe like a B grading on it. The album overall felt like a grungy, bouncy experience, and it had some moments of interesting and impressive rapping, but some parts of the instrumentation and the mix were poorly done, and it left me desiring more, especially when it had too much of the minimalistic approach. I do enjoy the tracks with higher energy, and I wasn't so much feeling the features that he had on there. The guest verses really didn't do that much for me or bring that much more enjoyment to the album. I preferably could have had with just Earl by himself. I did like the theme and the effects that they had, referencing the pandemic and everything, and I did enjoy pretty much 7 out of 10 of the tracks. My favorite ones were 2010. I felt like this one was the cleanest sounding and had the best performance. Sick, it gets me hyped. Lie, it has my favorite instrumentation. Lobby had the futuristic bop feel with the minimal spooky melodies. And Titanic, that submarine hip hop great flow feeling was really getting me. Fire in the Hole also has that sexy guitar and bass sample, which was really tight to me. But let me know what you folks think. This is Earl Sweatshirt, sick. Like, comment, and share. Subscribe, and put some comments in the bottom. Let me know what you guys are feeling in this album. Let me know what you want me to review next, and I'll catch you in the next one. It's your man AG Untitled Chapter, us the folk.